Today's video is sponsored by Taylor Brands. Taylor Brands is an all-in-one solution for your business. Taylor Brands is the world's only comprehensive one-stop shop for small business owners, making the process of creating and running a business simple, streamlined, and easily manageable. The platform of guided tools includes LLC services, EIN, domain, website, logo builder, merch, trademark, and much more, enabling business owners to start, manage, and grow their businesses with efficiency, ease, and confidence. With just a few simple clicks, you will be able to enter in information about yourself and your business, answer a few questions about what you have already completed with your business setup and what you still need help with, and choose from a selection of options that will provide you with all the services you need to get your LLC up and running. Hey guys, it is Jenny Silver. We're live today. Let me just make sure my tech is good. Hi, Mary. I see you here. You guys, it is January, start of 2025. There's a lot to cover in terms of business essentials that you need to know within the start of the new year. We have the BOI filing this year, which is been quite confusing, honestly, because there has been a lot of litigation going back and forth with, is this going to be required or is it on hold? So I want to cover that first. I'm also going to be covering a lot of self-employed tax business, starting your LLC, and other things. So I want you to make sure that if you have questions, you're putting them in the chat. If you came just to say hi, then put that in the chat as well. But I want to give you some of the must-know info first before I move on to questions. Let me first say hi to whoever is here. Hi, Debbie. It's good to see you. Hi, Diego. Happy Monday. Susan, you are very welcome. So you guys, there are, before I begin my spiel, there are no bad questions. We have a range of business owners, entrepreneurs, self-employed people, independent contractors, side hustle folks that follow my channel. So it's totally fine if you're asking questions that seem embarrassing or that they might seem obvious. It's totally fine if you're asking more advanced questions about growing or scaling your business. In general, I will do the best I can to point you in the right direction. I am not a CPA. I'm not an accountant. I don't work for the IRS. Don't work for anyone but myself. So I'm just going to try to point you in the right direction because it can be quite confusing to operate a business, to start a business, to grow a business without having someone point you in the right direction of where to locate all of these confusing government requirements. So any question that you have, feel free to pop it in the chat. Now, the first thing that I want to cover today is going to be the BOI report, the Beneficial Ownership Information Report. This is a new requirement that has been put forth from legislation that was passed in, I think it was passed in 2022. And what this is, I'm going to share it on my screen. One sec, if I can figure it out. It's been a while. Whoa, there it is. Okay, so the BOI, Beneficial Ownership Information. If you own an LLC or a corporation, limited liability company, this does not apply to sole proprietors. Limited liability companies and other forms of corporation, you are going to be required to file a BOI, a Beneficial Ownership Information Form. And what this is basically it tells the government, FinCEN, which is kind of like the IRS's little brother, for lack of better explanation, it tells them who owns your business and who has basically like a financial interest in your business. So it registers those people as being tied with your business, and it's supposed to help from fraudulent things within your business. This is honestly quite confusing because a lot of people don't know about this requirement. This requirement was added recently within the last year, and now it is on hold. This requirement is really easy to fulfill. All you do is you go to FinCEN's website and you fill out some information about your owners. This can be done online. You don't pay for this, and do not pay a service to do this, please, because this is free and it takes about 2 minutes. The BOI report was going to be required for all businesses that were established prior to 2024, they were going to have to do it by this January, but we now have legislation, pending legislation, litigation, that's going through several different court proceedings to try to stop this from being put out the way that it was initially going to be incorporated. A lot of business owners didn't know about this. It has not been widely spread. There has been no mass mailings to those who own LLCs. It's been something that has been a surprise to a lot of business owners that people have found out on sources like TikTok, YouTube, channels like mine, just from people sharing information. And so it's been really difficult to get people to understand that they're going to have this requirement, which if they don't fulfill it would result in an up to $500 per day fine, in addition to criminal charges in the amount of around $10,000 penalty on top of those daily fines. So to have something that is put out to business owners that don't know that it exists, paired with this massive penalty, has been challenged. So what we have right now, I'm just checking the questions here. So what we have right now is we have a court proceeding that has stalled this. So the current information on BOI, I want to make sure I share that first, and I'm going to show you this page again. What we have right here are requirements of BOI, Beneficial Ownership Information Report, are shown right here highlighted. So the courts have issued an injunction, basically like a temporary order, a stay on this requirement. So currently, this has gone back and forth several times. Currently, you are not required to file a BOI report. However, that can change anytime. It could change tomorrow. It could change in a few weeks. It could change in a few months. You are not going to be alerted when it changes effectively. Therefore, if you're choosing not to file your BOI, you need to make sure that you are following this information, not just on creators like me, but you need to follow it yourself at fincen.gov/BOI, and you need to make sure that you understand that you're going to be obligated, possibly fined if you miss the deadline when and if this is reinstated. So what have I done? I have filed my BOI because even though I follow these things obviously very closely, I also have a very distractible brain. I have kids. I have a million different projects. I don't want to find out late that this was reinstated and then have to panic, do it last minute, possibly forget and get fined. So I have no problem sharing my ownership information with the government. They already have it. For the most part, and I'm fine sharing that. So I went ahead and I filed mine. It took me 2 minutes, and I made a video showing the exact steps to do that. It's available on my channel home. So if you go and you search BOI, my channel's homepage, you will find the step-by-step tutorial on how to do that. And I'll get to questions in just a sec. So if you have not done that yet, your choices are either, number one, wait to file it, or don't file it currently because it's not a requirement, and closely monitor the court proceedings and the requirement being reinstated. Number two, you can file it anyway, and then it's done. And then if and when it is reinstated, you have already filed it. So BOI takes 2 minutes. Pretty easy and simple. So I just wanted to make sure that I covered that for those of you who are wondering about it, because it has been quite strange going back and forth. Debbie Hall, any new EDD changes or updates? Debbie, how are you? You have followed me a long time. I really appreciate it. I hope you're doing well. EDD changes and updates, I'm not following that. So I can't tell you. I am strictly business, small business, California business over on my channel right now. And because EDD doesn't offer benefits to the self-employed, I'm not covering it. So I can't tell you, I'm sorry. Diego, is this something that needs to be filed every year, referring to the BOI? No, so BOI reporting, if and when it is reinstituted, is required that you file it initially and then only again if there are changes in your business or ownership. So essential changes, basically anything you fill out in that application, which I can show it to you on screen as well. Anything you fill out in that BOI report that you send in, if any of that information changes, then you must fill out a new report. However, if nothing changes, you are not required to send it in every year. They don't want you to do that. They just want the correct information and then an updated report when and if that information changes. BOI, yes. And if you have more information, if you want to see what that application looks like, I can show it to you. Just let me know in the chat, or if you have additional questions about BOI. Debbie Hall says, any YouTube algorithm changes or revisions? You know, I am not certain. I'm not sure how they're going to be changing it with changes that are coming to TikTok and that competition between the platforms changing. I'm not certain how they're going to do that. YouTube is pushing out more preference for long form videos currently. Basically, what the majority of content creators that closely follow YouTube algorithm and what they're promoting, and my own data as well, tells me that they are basically pushing to the front of people's pages, recommendations, things like that, longer watch times. So previously they were kind of going opposite of what TikTok was doing with short form content, and they were really pushing their long form content of 8 minutes or longer. And they incentivize that by being able to add in ad space and monetize those 8 minute or longer videos with more ads. So basically, if you're a YouTube creator and you have a monetized channel where YouTube puts ads and you receive the ad revenue from that, you can only put in ads in the middle of your video if that video is 8 minutes or longer. And once it hits that 8 minute mark, then you can make more money on those videos. So they have for quite a while preferred long form content and trying to get users to stay on the platform longer and watch those videos, which is why you will see so many content creators that could say something in 2 minutes or less, especially in these business topics where if you're giving a tutorial, recommending a product or something like that, if they could say it in 2 minutes or less, oftentimes they don't, and they will stretch it out for an 8 minute minimum or longer video because they want to have more time, stretch it out, give all the summaries, give all the details before they get to the essential information so that they can get you in there to watch more ads. I create both sorts of videos. If it's something quick that people want to hear quickly and they want that business information without the fluff, I have lots of those short ones, but I also have long form video because it's what the platform wants. Okay, did I miss any comments up here? Let me scroll up. I think I skipped down a little bit. Hi, Joe. Thank you for tuning in. It's good to see you, Joe. I hope you're doing well. Debbie Hall, how is your new home? Debbie, it's not new anymore. Now I've been here for like nearly 3 years, which is crazy. And when we moved here, my children were, Calvin was like 7, I think, and he's 10 now, which is crazy. Nora is almost 7. Are we settled in? Yes, we're settled in. We live in a compound with my sister and brother-in-law have their own house. And then we have, I have my house here with my kids, and then my dad lives in the same house as well. And then we have 11 acres here of forests and woods, and it's wonderful. I really love it. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Okay, we got Diego's question. Thank you, Diego. Debbie, we got your YouTube question. Debbie's coming in with all the questions. I love it. My report, EDD is a little better, but with all the new fire and displays, that might change. There definitely will be emergency supplemental insurance available there, but because I'm doing small business content, I'm not updated on that. I'm not looking into that, but thank you for sharing. Okay, do you recommend using an EIN even if we're not planning an LLC just yet? Susan, that's a really good question. So Using an EIN. An EIN is an employer identification number. These are free and fast to obtain from irs.gov. Don't pay a third-party service to get an EIN unless you really want to, because you can get them for free very quickly at irs.gov. EINs are basically a tax ID number for a business. And although they are called an employer identification number, you do not have to have employees in order to have and use one. Basically, if you do not want to use your personal social security number on your business information, forms that you fill out, 1099s that you might be receiving from people or giving out, anywhere you use your own social security number as a sole proprietor, you can obtain an EIN from the IRS and use that number instead. Now, using a different number instead of your social security number obviously has a lot of benefits in terms of personal privacy. And so you do not have to be an LLC or a corporation or even an employer to use an EIN. You can get this number it takes literally 2 minutes at irs.gov. The only thing that you want to think about is that if you have already started your business as a sole proprietor, you have already completed all of your paperwork, you are already filing taxes, things like that, you're going to have to update any formal registration paperwork that you have that already uses your social security number. You will want to update that with your new EIN. So you'll need to make sure that anywhere where you had recorded that, such as obtaining a business license, or let's say you work as an independent contractor for someone and you already gave them your social security number, you will want to make sure that you update that information with them. There's really no other detriment to using it other than it's just a little bit of extra paperwork, which isn't too bad. So yes, I would recommend that if you are not even an LLC, if you're a sole proprietor, to obtain an EIN and use it in your business. Why? Because it adds that extra layer of protection between your personal information and the world and that which is publicized. So it's going to be less personal information that you have to give out about yourself and share with others. So getting an EIN is a great thing to do for your business, whether or not you are an LLC or a sole proprietor. Okay, Debbie, do you like the short form TikTok? Does that medium pay? Okay, so I'm not monetized on TikTok. I have not had the capacity to build that platform and invest time over there. Like, if you follow me there, you'll see that I post from time to time, but it's very sporadic and it's usually just cuts of my longer YouTube videos that I've repurposed. And it's a different sort of medium that people are looking to engage with over there. To be successful over on TikTok, you need to have a very personal, less curated, more kind of, I don't know, looking into your life as a personal viewpoint to be very successful. The most successful creators on there are really doing a good job at connecting with their audience, creating community, and giving kind of a different, more personal level of content over there. So I have not engaged in that way there yet. So does it pay? Yes, it does. If you're a business looking to expand, however, looking to build on platforms, TikTok is scheduled currently to go away from the United States due to legislation that was already passed. Currently, the Supreme Court just heard arguments, I think it was like 3 days ago, on whether or not banning TikTok in the United States is unconstitutional, because it's essentially, the argument that they provided was that basically there has been nothing proven that it is causing harm. So those are the arguments that are being heard right now in the Supreme Court. That was about 3 days ago. I do not have all the information on that topic, but what I mean to say by going into this is, if you are a content creator right now, if you are a business looking to reach audience through platforms like TikTok, TikTok is not the place to invest your time right now. Right now, you need to be investigating other platforms that we think might replace TikTok or come in lieu of it, that either already exist or that are up and coming, because the future of TikTok and its involvement here and its presence here in the United States is currently very up in the air. Okay, Cody. I don't know if you said anything yet about unemployment, but are you going to have any tutorials for the ones affected by the fires? I have not. So I am so far removed from the unemployment content that is not an area that I'm able to be very helpful with right now. With the pandemic during 2020 to 2022, I did provide lots of content in that area and was one of the go-to channels for providing that information. Specifically, I started there because I was in it as a small business that had to refund like 2 years worth of pre-booked jobs and had to figure out what to do. And so as I was figuring it out for myself, I was sharing that information with, started with fellow industry people that I worked with, and then it branched out because people needed that information so badly. I do believe that there will be enough information on their website during this time to look it up, read the press releases, and find that out for those of you that are traditionally employed. If there is something that pertains to self-employed individuals that is shared there, then that will be the content that I will share on my channel of how that affects those of us who are self-employed. However, unemployment insurance typically does not apply to those who are self-employed unless you are an employee hired by your own business. Then that's different. Yeah, but there's so much going on there and it's so difficult. Susan, you're very welcome, Susan. Debbie, interrupting your live show or commercials every few minutes. Why? Because it's YouTube. YouTube does that. It's how I'm able to share free information on this platform because I'm compensated through ads from YouTube. So if you miss something due to an ad, there's going to be a replay. You can always come back. But thank you for enduring those ads so that I can continue to use my time to share with you. I really appreciate you watching them. Okay, Debbie Hall, what other platforms are notable to engage with? You know, so I was starting to look into that. This is not personally a big concern of mine because my primary platform is YouTube. However, people that follow me will be searching for other platforms for their own business, their own content. So this is something that I will be researching, but I have not researched yet. So the names that I throw out are things that I don't know anything about. I'm not recommending or endorsing these. And I can't even, I have them saved here somewhere. Where are they? If you guys know the platforms that people are talking about utilizing instead of TikTok, please share them in the chat. The ones that I had noted to look into that I have not looked into yet, people are saying RedNote, Neptune, Blue Sky, Lemonade. I don't know any of these yet, so I'm not recommending them. But if you guys have explored these, please let me know in the chat. Okay, Susan, I want to start by selling on Etsy. I believe I need a seller's permit and a business license for my city. Do you know if I need a fictitious business name or a DBA? Yes, so if you are going to start selling on Etsy, you are going to essentially have an online store. In order to operate a business, which your online store is going to be a business, you are going to be required to, in most cases, hold a business license, which is going to be registered for on your city level. And then you're also going to need to obtain a DBA or a fictitious business name statement from your county clerk recorder's office. A DBA, doing business as statement, is going to apply to anyone that is doing business under anything that is not their first and last legal name. Now, if you are a sole proprietor, basically it's just you and your business, you are not obtaining an LLC or becoming a corporation, you're just one person selling some stuff, then you are going to need to get that business license because you're going to be transacting business. You're going to need to get a fictitious business name statement unless you are operating as your first and last name only, with no additions, nothing changed. In most cases, people are going to be choosing a business name that they want to brand their business as, and so you would need to obtain that DBA. That's retained from the county clerk recorder's office in most cases. In addition to that, you will most likely need to hold a seller's permit. The rules on this differ from state to state. In my home state of California, you're required to hold a seller's permit if you are selling tangible goods or later that then results in the sale of a tangible product within your state. You also are required to hold a seller's permit if you're holding inventory in that state. If you are buying wholesale, California requires a seller's permit to buy California wholesale. And you also need a seller's permit. I already said holding inventory. That's a big one. Now, the thing to keep in mind is that with seller's permits in the state of California, there is something called the Marketplace Facilitators Act. And this act differs from state to state. So if you're not in California, you need to look up your own state's rules with marketplaces. In some cases, marketplaces such as Etsy, where they are transacting the sales for you and collecting and remitting the sales tax and paying that sales tax on your behalf instead of you. In many cases, you are not required to hold a seller's permit if you are only transacting sales through a marketplace facilitator, because they are collecting that sales tax and they are remitting that sales tax. However, if you hold inventory, if you have an established business presence, if you are wanting to buy wholesale, things like that, you still do need to hold a seller's permit. So it is best to generally just hold one and file your sales and use tax returns stating that you used a marketplace facilitator and do it that way. In addition, let's see, business license for your city. Okay, definitely answered that. All right, moving on. Debbie Hall, you will be needed in EDD World Games. Debbie, most of entertainment is affected. EDD, come back. Debbie, you could start your EDD channel. I know you're very in need of EDD information. You could start your own. It's okay. I will not be jealous of it. Diego, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Reels are the ones that likely get large audience quickly. Yes, these are the ones that have already been pre-established. Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, but who has information on the up and coming platforms that are new and different from this? The algorithm in TikTok is what people are missing, that Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts haven't quite figured out, because TikTok is so good at connecting those very, very specific, very niche micro interests that people really connect and bond over. And if you've used all three platforms, you can definitely tell the difference in how TikTok functions and who it connects you with. It's interesting. Debbie, I think you should investigate these new platforms and report. Will be interesting to know. Yes, I will be investigating them. I have quite limited time recently. I don't know how I'm going to do all this. You guys got 2 kids. Okay, going back to Debbie's questions. What are the consequences of not having a business license from the city? How will they find out? This is for California. Water, Finn. Okay, so consequences for not having a business license from the city. You can there are specific penalties that you will be fined with and obligated to pay on varying degrees based on either not knowing, not complying, or intentionally not complying with your city's laws surrounding business. You are obligated to research those laws and those regulations and make sure that your business is operating in conjunction with those local and state regulations. So there are fines that you can accrue for not having a business license. You can have your ability to do business within the city revoked. And there are, in certain cases, you can be subject to criminal penalties, but all of these differ according to the city's own rules and regulations. Now, for you to know, so how do you know what you need to do? No one is there to tell you, except I am here with a channel of information for you. But generally speaking, people don't know. When you start a small business, it's confusing. And there are so many rules that oftentimes it scares you away from ever getting started. Or you start and you're so scared of finding out that you did things wrong that you might not research thoroughly, or you might start researching and get overwhelmed and not know how to actually complete the steps. And this is really complicated. So I want to share with you the one website that is the go-to website in the state of California where you need to go and start before you start your business, or if you are currently in business, go and check this website and make sure that you, I'm going to pull it up, that you are good to go. The website is calgold.ca.gov. I'm going to share my screen with you. Now, if there's anyone who's not in the state of California who is watching this video, my channel concentrates specifically on California small business, but I do have others who are not in California who tune in as well. I do not have a state website like this for every single state, but most likely your state has some sort of compilation of information like this. So research from your business development department in your state for something similar. So on CalGold, those of you in the state of California, you can enter in here. You can enter in a city or a county. So I'm just going to select this one, and then you can enter in business types. I'm going to enter in photography because I'm a photographer. I'm going to click search, and then you're going to scroll down here. This is going to show you every possible permit that you could need for this industry in the city and the state. It's going to show you what you need, and a lot of the things you might not need for your specific business. So it can be a little confusing. I'll cover that next. But it's going to show you what you need, what the permit or license is. It's going to show you where to obtain it. So like the specific department, the specific address, the phone number, and the website of where to obtain it. And this is just so useful because it will show you where do you get your business license from, which is also known as a business tax certificate. It will show you over here where to go get it in person, or you can click on that website link right here. Now, the unfortunate thing is that a lot of these links are not updated. So if you see my screen right here, the resource can't be found. There's a lot of these, and it is frustrating, but what you can now do if you come across those pitfalls there is you can simply search here for the office that it shows here, plug it into Google, and you'll find the updated website. So this at least is a starting point that shows you all the different things that you need. In general, you're going to need to obtain a business license, which is often called a business tax certificate. You're going to need to get either zoning clearance, which is right here. Basically, if you have a studio space, an office, someplace that has foot traffic, you'll need zoning clearance to use that for a business. If you are working out of your home and you are doing home-based businesses, then your city may require to get a home use permit. And that differs from city to city. You also are going to need to register your fictitious business name, and I'll show you where to do that. If you're using hazardous materials, then you have to register here. And then there's also just lots of different things if you have employees, seller's permits if you're selling tangible items, and then income tax information. So that is all there on CalGold. it is the best place to start if you're starting a business and you're unsure where to start, what to go, and what your requirements are. Diego, I have a vegan food pop-up established as an LLC this year. I'm going to launch a product that will be branded with a different name. Do I need a fictitious name for that? Okay, so your product in your business, right? Am I remembering that right? Yeah. Is your product branded with a different business name, or is it just a product of that business? If you are starting, let's give an example. Let's say you have a food pop-up. Let's say that your food pop-up is called Diego's Food Pop-Up, for lack of a better name. And Diego's Food Pop-Up is registered. It's an LLC, and it has, essentially, LLCs aren't required to file a separate DBA, fictitious business name, because you have already registered your business name with the Secretary of State. However, if you are going to branch off and form sub companies and operate under different names, like let's say that you have one company that is going to only be focused on creating sauces and selling those, and then you have another company that is only going to be working, let's say, events and doing like in-person things, and one company that only sells online, and you want separate brands for each one, where each one has a different business name, different branding, and you have specific separate brands, then yes, you must register a fictitious business name separately. It'll be under your LLC, but then you can register multiple DBAs or fictitious business names to that one LLC. So it's essentially different branches of your business. But if you're simply introducing a product and you're not operating under a different business name, then that's just the name of the product. Now, you may want to look into getting a registered trademark for the name of that product, or if you want to copyright the specific mixture, ingredients in that recipe, things like that, then you might want to look into registering a trademark for that product name, etc. But you don't need to register a fictitious business name for the product, if that makes sense. You're in California. Debbie Hall. Is YouTube still paying good money, or has any of that dropped back? Is there an auto pay dollars system out there, or do you do the hold your funds until or upon request? Debbie, I'm having trouble reading. Is it me? Okay. Is YouTube still paying good money, or has any of it dropped back? Okay. So if you're talking about my specific traffic or YouTube in general, I don't know. But my specific traffic, I am much more diversified than I was during the pandemic, where I was on YouTube every single day. During the pandemic, I had like 1 million views a month. There was 1 month where it was much more than that, but it was a lot of me being at the computer streaming, live streaming, or providing multiple videos every single day. So yes, that has dropped back a lot. That is no longer the focus of what I'm doing. I'm personally much more diversified in terms of where I'm spending my time and how my own personal income is coming through. So yes, I have dropped that back, both through just the circumstances of the times and how I'm choosing to engage online, and also through where I'm investing my time. But is YouTube still paying in general? Yeah, YouTube, it really depends what niche you are in and what sort of content you are providing on YouTube, because the video content is paid differently based on how much advertisers will pay to have their ads appear in your sort of content. So specifically, business content, which is what I provide, pays a higher amount than what someone who is, let's say, sharing their music that they create would make. There's a much higher gap and difference in terms of different industries and different types of content. Business content performs well, though, and has a higher CPM that it pays out. Just a product of your business, yes. So you do not need to register a separate DBA for a product, but you might want to look into registering a trademark if it is something that you want to protect from competitors or from being duplicated, or if you just really like that name and you don't want to have it used by somebody else. Company is called The Grateful Taco. It's not Diego Robles pop-up vegan food. That was a winner. You're very welcome. Okay, Debbie Hall, you were a YouTube mega tiger. Thank you. There was a lot of daily videos that went out during the pandemic. That was a lot of stuff, but it was partially because I was figuring it out on my own and trying to share that information. But then a big part of it took over when I realized how much of a need there was for it, and people weren't getting that need filled by the agencies that were supposed to be helping them and advocating for them. And so I forced my way in there. Thank you for being there for that. Okay, I'm caught up in the chat, which means I'm going to go on to my next topic that I need to nag at you about in this new year for your business, which is starting your LLC. Okay, it's January. There's a lot of things that you need to do in January when the year starts for your business so that you don't create a huge mess later on. One of these things is that if you are thinking about forming an LLC, don't do it mid-year. Don't do it at the end of the year. Try to do it now at the beginning of the year. Why? Because you're going to be obligated, number one, to separate your financial records. You have to have a separate business bank account and business bookkeeping. And if you are someone who waits to do this until later on, you are going to have half of the year with your current bookkeeping situation as a sole proprietor with all your finances maybe intertwined, and then half of the year with it being as an LLC. It's going to be incredibly difficult come tax time to do an efficient and accurate job filing your taxes, or if you take them and get them done, it's going to be difficult lining them up and getting things in order so that that person can then do it, and it will be more costly because there'll be more for them to sort out if you don't do a good job. So think about that, because if you're going to form an LLC, now is the time, not in several months. Number two, LLCs are required to pay an annual tax. In the state of California, this annual tax is $800 per year. That tax is a flat rate unless you earn $250,000 or more in revenue. For those of you that earn over that amount, you're going to be required to pay an additional fee on top of that. But the $800 annual tax applies regardless of how much profit, sales, or income your business turns out. You're going to be required to pay that $800 fee even if you did not transact any sales or did not turn a profit. So that means that if you have the whole year to work on transacting sales and make that $800 actually count towards your business, versus starting your LLC in November or December when you feel like you're finally ready, you're going to have to still pay the same amount of tax, that $800 annual fee. So if you pay it at the end of the year, basically it's like throwing it away because you did not use the whole year to make it worth your while. So these are just things to consider as we go into the new year. Debbie, do you always keep your subscriber count? Or do those counts taper back? Okay, good question. My subscriber count started to taper back way back when I was, I think it was like 2022 when I began to start sharing more small business content. And that was good. That was a good change because I was starting to niche down into people that didn't want to hear the small business content. They were starting to unsubscribe. And that's fine because I was pivoting a channel from a major focus of what the channel was about. So I did see some drop off then in about 2022. And then as soon as I got consistent with the content I was sharing again, then the subscriber count started going back up. Now, it did not increase at the same rapid pace that it did in 2020, because that was such an essential, urgent need for people. And it was high demand, and then there was low other content present in that niche. So my subscriber count now continues to increase. I believe I receive about 150 new subscribers every month added to my channel, but it goes up and down, but that's like the average that I'm receiving right now. Okay, Logic Claren, what is you miss a year? I think it's what if you miss a year of paying taxes on your business. Okay, if you miss a year of paying taxes on your business, then you are going to be obligated to pay this is actually a question that I had written down from a member in my group, so thank you for asking. If you miss a year of paying taxes on your business, you're going to be missing paying not just one tax, but several different kinds of taxes. If you're an LLC, you are obligated to pay that annual $800 LLC tax. You're also obligated to file Form 568 in the state of California, which is your LLC tax return. So like the documentation, and then you also had to do the payment. Additionally, for sole proprietors and LLCs, you are required to pay federal and state income taxes on that business's or self-employment income, and you're obligated to pay a third tax called self-employment tax. This is a different tax on top of income taxes. Self-employment tax essentially replaces payroll taxes. When you're self-employed, you do not have someone pulling out the payroll taxes that are usually taken out of someone's paycheck for FICA, for Social Security and Medicare. But self-employment tax is where those are paid. So self-employed individuals are subject to self-employment tax, which is 15.3% of your net income. That breaks down into a portion for Social Security and a portion for Medicare. And those are collected in your income tax return through Schedule C. So if you miss a year of paying taxes on your business and it's just paying the LLC tax, then the California Franchise Tax Board will come after you. They will send you a notification, they will send you a bill, and that bill will have taxes and penalties added into it for however long you have missed those taxes. The same is true for your income taxes, federal and state income taxes, as well as self-employment tax. However, that is going to be handled through either the IRS or the state of California, depending on if it's federal or state. And then self-employment tax is a federal level tax. So how long does it take for them to catch up to you is the question. I have had late taxes. So I speak from a place of sadness and regret at the bill I had to pay when I didn't realize a long time ago, when I was a new baby LLC, I didn't realize that I had missed paying my California LLC tax. About 4 or 5 years later, I think it was 4 years later, I received missing bills for that tax that I thought I had paid, but my ADHD brain did not pay. And I had to pay the taxes that were due. I had to pay penalties and I had to pay fees. Like there was interest and there was penalties. The interest was accrued based on how long the balance sat there. So several years of interest in addition to a flat penalty for missing the tax. I cannot tell you the amount that the percentage of the penalty and the interest was, but I do share that in another video that I have on my channel. I believe if you search up didn't pay taxes, there's some sort of a video that I have on my channel that explains what happens if you don't pay your taxes. So if you miss a year of paying taxes on your business, you want to make sure that you proactively amend your taxes or file that tax return that is missing. If you already filed taxes, but you didn't include some income, you forgot to include it, or you made a mistake, then amend your taxes. If you didn't file it because maybe you just didn't file your Form 568 to California, then file that separately. You want to do it proactively yourself, because if you wait until they catch up to you, which I believe they have 7 years to catch up to you, if you wait, it's just going to keep accruing more and more interest over time. And it is very difficult to wait and get a massive bill like that. So you want to make sure that you're proactive about it. Okay, what if? Debbie, okay, I'm going to be ending my stream in about 5 minutes, because at that point in time, I believe my camera battery will die. So we'll be wrapping up soon. Debbie, Ginny, tell what your biz slant is now. I'm diversified and I can't speak. Currently, I run the California Entrepreneurs Collective, which basically is a membership site that provides a lot of different tools and resources for California business owners and entrepreneurs who want to start and grow, hi Kat, their business, and need all the resources that essentially I provide on my channel, but they want someone to really walk them through the steps. So that membership is a big chunk of what I manage. And so it provides different things that you can download that walk you through all the steps, and membership resources, tools, templates, things like that. Additionally, I also do YouTube content, sponsorships from brands that are having me share or create tutorials for them. I also still do some photography. I do some commercial photography. I've taken a break from weddings, but I still do portraits and commercial photography as well. And then I have lots of other small streams of income, such as digital products, both in the wedding world as well as in the business world. I have a book and other things. I have lots of different things. Debbie Hall, now at 87,000. Will you get, those are my subscriber count, correct? Will you get that silver plaque, or have you already? No, that plaque comes for 100,000. I'm a ways off from there. It's a slow climb. Sue Robertson, I missed about 10 minutes, so I'm looking forward to the playback. Thank you again for this valuable live. Thank you, Susan. There will be a playback. A replay, so make sure you do that. Debbie, big fluffy cat. Yes, she is very large. My outdoor cat that I've had for 17 years died like 3 days ago. So I'm down to just one cat now. I'm sad. Okay, before I wrap up this live, I'm going to cover one more of my new year items that I want to talk to you about, but which one is it going to be? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and answer questions that I received from, go away, cat. I'm going to go ahead and tackle a member question. How do I get customers from emailing? Was a question that I received in advance. Email marketing is tricky. There's a right way and there's a wrong way in most cases. In most cases, you do not want to do cold emails to people. There's a lot of videos that tell you look up people on YouTube that need video editing, look up people on this platform that need this service, and just send out massive amounts of emails, send them samples, send them whatever. That is not effective in most cases. The way to use email marketing efficiently is to, number one, build a brand that is recognizable, that establishes you as an expert in whatever niche you're trying to reach, and that has some sort of valuable free information that you are offering them, as well as paid products. You need to get that audience to find you, or you need to find them through advertising and get in front of the right people. You need to collect their email address by providing them with a valuable, high quality, something free that they want. Capture that email address because it's then mutually beneficial. And then you need to nurture that audience by continuing to provide them high quality, free content that they use and they come to. You need to also appear in front of them in some way or another, whether that be a social media platform, a newsletter, webinars, things, whatever it is that you are providing and reaching that specific audience. they need to start to trust and recognize you, and they need to see you everywhere, and they need to associate with you with what you are selling as the expert in that niche. This doesn't mean lying and pretending you're the expert. It just means that you know enough to make your knowledge useful to them. And then at that point, once you have nurtured that relationship and you've continued to nurture it through email as well as that being your point of contact, and they're no longer just seeing you as spam and deleting you, they're actually opening and finding high value content every time they open, then eventually enough trust will be nurtured where you can then convert them to a paying customer. So that answers that question of how do I get customers from emailing? No cold emails, but rather nurturing with high value content and creating a relationship there. I had one member that said, "Did you receive my question I sent from 2 years ago?" Yes, I did. I think this was Michael. I remember you sent a question several years ago, and I remember specifically that I recorded in a live stream that was just for my membership community that I answered that question at that point in time. Do I need a seller's permit if I drop ship? The answer here is maybe. It depends what platform you're using and the process of purchase. It matters who is collecting and remitting the sales tax. In general, whether it's drop shipping, a marketplace facilitator, a website, an auction house, whatever it is, what matters is who is transacting the sale and who is receiving the sales tax money. If the platform you're using is transacting the sale and they are collecting sales tax and that sales tax never comes to you, they are the ones remitting the sales tax, then your state may not require you to hold a seller's permit due to the Marketplace Facilitators Act. However, this differs from state to state, so you must research it. Now, if that platform is transacting the sale, collecting the money, but then that money all transfers to you, including the tax amount, then you are obligated to hold a seller's permit and collect and remit sales tax to your sales tax board in that state where the sale was transacted. Additionally, states, specifically California, have regulations about where the inventory is held. So if you're drop shipping, then you are not holding your own inventory. That company is required to hold a seller's permit, though, if they are holding inventory within that state. Next is nexus. If you have a established business presence within a specific state, as is defined by the state's number of transactions and limit for how many sales, like how much dollars you have transacted, then you're going to be required to hold a seller's permit in those states where you hold nexus. Generally speaking, it's a complicated answer. Research your state's regulations and know where you're transacting your sales and know where the money is going. And if that sales tax is crossing into your hands, or if you're required to collect it, then you must hold the seller's permit. Big fluffy cat. Okay, this is gonna be my last minute here, and then I'm gonna wrap up the stream. Did you find your giant lizard bearded dragon? No, I did not. No. My former husband lost the bearded dragon. Okay, Debbie Hall. More cat creeping by. The cat is definitely creeping by. Okay, you guys, I am going to try to do live streams. What day is today? Is today Monday? I'm going to try to do live streams regularly on Mondays at 12 going forward for tax season, because this is the time that business owners need additional help. It's confusing. I'm not a tax professional, but I can point you to the resources and the information that no one else is sharing. So I'm going to continue to do these live streams, hopefully on Mondays. We'll see how it goes. So I will hopefully see you next Monday. I want you to let me know in the comments if you have additional questions. Let me know if there was anything said today that was helpful for you. And there is going to be a brief outro that gives a word from my sponsor again. So if you guys are going to be forming your LLC, this is the time to do it. January, not the end of the year. You want to use this time to form your LLC, then I want you to click the link in the video description down below and form it with Taylor Brands. Okay. Debbie, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. All right, you guys, I'll see you next time. Today's video is sponsored by Taylor Brands. Taylor Brands is an all-in-one solution for your business. Taylor Brands is the world's only comprehensive one-stop shop for small business owners, making the process of creating and running a business simple, streamlined, and easily manageable. The platform of guided tools includes LLC services, EIN, domain, website, logo builder, merch, trademark, and much more, enabling business owners to start, manage, and grow their businesses with efficiency, ease, and confidence. With just a few simple clicks, you will be able to enter in information about yourself and your business, answer a few questions about what you have already completed with your business setup and what you still need help with, and choose from a selection of options that will provide you with all the services you need to get your LLC up and running.